Well, hello there. I'm Damaris Phillips, and you're watching another episode of Gussied Up. Thank you so much for being here. If it's your first time, welcome. If it's not your first time, thank you for joining us again. Today, we are going to be making something that I think is totally delightful and perfect for this time of year, a lemon poppy seed cake. What? That doesn't seem that fancy. Oh, but wait. We also throw in a little bit of lemon curd just to bump up that lemony flavor, but also make it a little bit more decadent, a little bit more fun, and a little bit easier for you. I'm baking it up as a bundt today because bunts are where it's at. I like big bunts and I cannot lie. Nope. That'll get taken out. Before we start, make sure to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Blender cakes right now are all the rage. Why? Because it's so easy. You throw all of your ingredients into the blender and you blend it up. What? That's gussieing. How many times am I gonna say gussied up? Let's get that gussied up meter counting so we know. Just into your blender, you're gonna put all of your wet ingredients, and that starts with 1 cup of sugar, half a cup of oil. You could use any kind of oil that you wanted. I used a vegetable oil, but coconut oil or melted butter would also work. Half a cup of milk. You could use yogurt or sour cream if you didn't have milk. 2 eggs. So at this point, we only have like very, very common ingredients for making a cake. But in a second, it's gonna get weird. What do you mean, Damaris? Throw in a half of a lemon. This is very similar to my orange cake. In an orange cake, you throw in the whole orange. In the lemon cake though, there's a little bit too much of the pith. And if you throw in a whole lemon or 2 lemons, which is the amount of lemon flavor that you would need, this pith is bitter. So then I thought, why not put in lemon curd? We're really gussying this up with the lemon curd, which is a sugar and lemon and egg and butter concoction. The last thing, about a half a teaspoon of salt. I put the salt in with my blender so that I don't end up with like little salty pieces throughout my cake because I stir fast. You can see that lemon just popping around in there. Once it gets going, start blending higher. You do want to break down that lemon. So a couple of things just happened there. One, we blended for long enough that that lemon is not gonna be a big hunk of lemon, it's gonna be small pieces. We also incorporated some air inside of there, okay? So now it's time to add our flour. Some recipes will call for the flour to go in the blender, and that's great, it will work. But I like to have a little bit more control over it, and so I do the extra step of putting the flour in a bowl and pouring the liquid in there. It's 2 cups of self-rising flour. Make a little well in the center. And I do it this way so that my flour doesn't get overmixed. If you add it to the blender, you run the risk of the flour becoming overmixed and developing too much gluten while it blends. I'm just folding it around. I'm not mixing it too much so it doesn't get tough. And then we're gonna add in our 2 to 3 tablespoons of poppy seeds. Look at those little angels. They're like sprinkles, but without any color. So I like a lot of the poppy seed flavor in there. It gives it this like slightly floral, a little bit peppery note. That I think goes really, really well with a lemon. Think about lemon pepper, right? That's kind of the same. Okay, that was my whole point. Let's move on. If you're enjoying this content or if you like any of our content, please subscribe below. We love having a community of people. We love talking to you and we love hearing your comments. So if you think this lemon poppy seed cake looks great, let me know in the comments below. Now, take your bundt pan and spray it. You can use any kind of a pan you want. If you don't have a bundt pan, it's fine. You can use a 9x13. You could use 2 8-inch round pans. I'm just using the bundt because you don't have to make icing. And for this cake in particular, a lemon poppy seed cake, I don't like icing, I just like sugar. What? Bake this at 350 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes. She smells unbelievable. Let this cool for about 5 minutes just so you can turn it out. You do want this to be still warm when you start to put the sugar on. If you let it cool completely in the pan, it's gonna get stuck, which is a problem. To turn it out, you just put a plate on the top and then flip it. That's the sound you wanna hear. Did you hear that sound? That was the cake releasing from the pan. You just lift it up. Boop! You could finish this cake a number of different ways. You could make a powdered sugar and lemon icing. That would be delightful. It would make it a little bit sweeter. You could also just dust it with powdered sugar as soon as it was all the way cooled down, and that would be lovely. It'd be nice and sweet and a little bit more delicate, right? But what I like to do is I like to roll it in granulated sugar. You take the cake while it's still warm and you sprinkle sugar all over the top of it, like this. And then you take a bowl and you flip it. And you kind of move it around. And you put your plate back on and you flip it. You end up with this beautifully sugared cake. And now the real beauty is when you get into this cake. Okay, you ready? Look at that little bite. Beautiful, right? It is definitely a breakfast cake. You can eat this for breakfast and feel like you didn't have cake. It's so velvety. The crumb on there is nice and dense. It's almost like a pound cake. And then you have those little pops of texture from the poppy seed. And my absolute favorite is the crunch from the sugar on the outside, bumping up the sweetness just a little bit. Serve it with a little bit of ice cream. This would be delightful. Or serve it up with a little bit of lemon sherbet. Whatever you want to do, let me know how you served it in the comments below. And I'll see you next time on Gussied Up, where we'll be making something absolutely delicious using some store-bought ingredients, but nobody will ever know. Unless you tell them, which I usually do. Bye! You've been gussied. You've been gussied up. You've been gussied. What does gussied up mean, you might ask? Gussied up just means to make something a little bit fancier, a little bit showier. And what is showier than a show-stopping cake? I want you to make me at your next dinner party, Damaris. I'm gonna try and do it without moving my lips. Make me at your next dinner party. All your friends will love it. What? Make it for friends? No, just get them a store-bought cake. They don't deserve homemade. That doesn't sound very nice. Evil lemon poppy seed cake. You're giving Damaris bad advice. I'm the type of cake you just eat in bed by yourself. Bye, y'all. See you next time on Gussied Up.